Let's talk about John Travolta, specifically his most recent film, Gotti. This movie looks like appears to be some sort of a passion project for him. From what I can gather, it took about 8 years for this to be made due to like issues and all that kind of stuff. Went through about four different directors. Uh, I can't remember all the people that were attached to direct this film, but let's see who was the most recent one. Uh, Kevin Connolly. Yeah, this is the guy who's being credited as the only director of the film. And apparently, in addition to it going through multiple different directors, there's like a couple dozen producers. Like I think I found one person who said this movie went through about at least 80 producers. I don't think that's actually true, but more than a dozen producers were definitely listed in the opening credits and such. But anyway, Gotti is of course the biopic of the real life mobster John Gotti, and also focuses on one of his sons as well, John A. Gotti. So I went and saw this with a friend who convinced me to go see it. So, how good is it? Well, okay, so on Rotten Tomatoes, the controversy is that it has a 0% critic score, but also, like, when I checked, it was 70% audience score. I think it hurt to drop down to 68, but far more positive reaction from the audiences than critics who gave it a 0%. So I watched this, and I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but I am going to defend it a little bit, saying it's not 0% bad. I mean, 0%, really? There's not one critic who could find any one positive thing to say? Because I was watching it, and yes, you can tell this went through a lot of different people during its production. But that's really more or less contained to the first half of the film. Well, not really contained, but it mainly stayed near the first half of the film. While it did get better in the second half, actually, as it seemed like Kevin Connolly actually got a good grip on the film, knew what he wanted to do, and just went out and did it. So, from a technical standpoint, it did get better. And most of the actors, mainly, are there just to serve their part. There's nothing bad about them in particular. Although the movie does jump around quite a bit, especially in the first half, in terms of timeline and such, and it doesn't seem to be really focused on whether or not it wants to tell the family of John Gotti or mainly focused on the crime part. The first half was focused on his family life and such. So when it came to the second half, which was focused on the actual crime family, I had no idea who was who or what this person did or anything about the actual setup of the thing. But that doesn't mean. Well, actually, it does mean that it's kind of all over the place. But John Travolta as John Gotti is actually pretty decent. I liked him in the role. Then I don't remember the actor who played his son, John A. Gotti, in the film, but he was also pretty decent. He was really the only member of his actual family that actually got a decent amount of screen time and such. Because all the other characters are usually just there for their own little role. They show up every once in a while. Really, there's a lot of people. You couldn't really take some time to actually explain who they were and how they're important. But yeah, most of the problems with this film actually really sort of sort of like stay in or around the first half of the film in terms of not being able to actually let you know who is who. There are too many people jumping around in the timeline. But in the second half, it does get actually noticeably better from a technical standpoint. Cinematography, even the timeline jumping is smoother because lets you know there's like this is like 1988, this is 1990, this is 1992, 1998. So in the second half, of time jumps just keep going forward. It doesn't go back, then forward, then back again like it did in the first half. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. So it's not good, but really not 0% bad. I mean, if I have to give it a rating, like a 5-star rating, I'd probably give it 2 stars out of 5. Yeah, 2 stars out of 5 sounds about right. Maybe 2.5. But that's just what my thoughts are on Gotti. So, if you have any interest in seeing this movie, probably wait to rent it on YouTube or something to check it out. I mean, if you want to go see it in theater, that's fine too. Like, I didn't regret seeing it in theater, but if you want to save a little bit of money, you could probably wait until it's available for rent on YouTube. But no, there's really nothing horrible I can really say about this movie. Just wish the first half was a lot more cohesive, and that, yeah, that's pretty much it. John Travolta was decent. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Comment down below, like, subscribe, share, and Dr. Cinema, see you next time.